problem 16, they're asking us to find x and y intercepts. So on the test, they might just ask for one or the other. And so whenever we're trying to find an intercept, you're going to set the other value equal to 0. So if I want to find an x-intercept, I'm going to end up setting y equal to 0. So when I set y equal to 0, it cancels out the y term, so I'm only left with 3x equals 9. And so I just have one step of dividing by 3, and I do that on both sides, and I get my value of 3. So x equals 3. So you could write it this way, or you could end up seeing it as an ordered pair, 3, 0. The next one would be the y-intercept. So for the y-intercept, remember we're going to end up setting x equal to 0. And so when we do that, it cancels out that x term, so you're just left with this negative y equals 9. And so we go ahead and solve by multiplying by the reciprocal. So multiply by negative 1 on both sides, or just multiply or divide by negative 1. Either way gets you the answer. Y is negative 9. So you could see the answer this way, or you could end up seeing it as 0, negative 9. So note that it's going to be one or the other, whether they write it as the ordered pair or just y equals, or just maybe the number itself. So those are the answers that we have here. Notice that I did not write the answer as 3, negative 9. If you wrote it this way, that point's not even on the line, so do not do that. It's two separate points, not one. This next one, the x-intercept, all I'm going to do is set y equal to 0 and solve for x. So here I just have to divide by 6, and I have x equals 1. Again, that could end up being 1, 0 is the same answer there. So that's one of them. The y-intercept, we're going to end up setting x equal to 0, so we've got 1/2 y equals 6. And so all we're going to do there is go ahead and multiply by the reciprocal, multiply by 2 over 1 on both sides. And we go ahead and do that. The 2's end up canceling out. We're left with y equals 12. So y is 12, or you could end up seeing it as 0, 12 as a ordered pair. So one of those two is the way you'll see the answer. And the next one, we set, again, y equal to 0 when we're solving for the x-intercept. You go ahead and do an opposite operation there, divide by negative 3, and you get your answer. So in this case, x equals negative 2, or you could write it as negative 2, 0. So there's one of them. Let's take a look at the other part. If we have the y-intercept, we're going to set x equal to 0. So you got 2y equals 6. Just divide by 2 on both sides, and you end up with your answer of y equals 3. So you could end up seeing it as 0, 3. So those are the two intercepts there. Last one here, we've got to find that x-intercept by setting y equal to 0. We've got 1/3 x equals 4. Multiply by the reciprocal, 3 over 1 on both sides, and you end up with x as 12. So x is 12, or you could see it as 12, 0 as the ordered pair for that value. And then with the next one, we're going to just set y or x equal to 0 this time, so we'll solve for y. So 2y equals 4, divide by 2, you end up with y is 2. So 0, 2 is the other way to write that answer. And those are the values that we get there. For the next question, though, they're going to ask us to graph the linear equation using x and y intercepts. Now, they're going to give us a graph, and we're going to have to match the equation to it. So we need to understand what to do. And now all we're going to do is the same sort of thing we had here. So whenever you've got x and y on the same side, it's sometimes easier just to figure out the intercepts. So 3x equals 15, so the x-intercept is 5. So we go over 5 spaces on the x-axis, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and put a dot there. Do the same thing for the y-intercept. Negative 5y equals 15. Divide by negative 5, you got y as negative 3. So down 3 spaces on the y-axis, you got a point there, and then you just draw the line between those 2 points. That is your solution. So if you have a graph and they give you a bunch of equations that look like this, figure out your x-intercept. In this case, it's 5. Y-intercept's negative 3. And then from there, you could match it to the one that we have on the different distractors. So the next one, 3y minus 5x equals 15. So you got 3y equals 15. So y is 5. So up 5 spaces, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Put the dot there. Use the find the x-intercept by setting y equal to 0. Negative 5x equals 15. Divide by negative 5, x is negative 3. So go down or to the left 3 spaces. So left 3 and put that point. And then from there we can go ahead and draw the line between those 2 points. So again, what you're going to see is a graph. You're going to have to match the graph to the equation. So you're just going to figure out what these intercepts are. So this one's y is 5, x is negative 3. And then you just go ahead and see which of the equations has those 2 intercepts. Next one here, we got to find the x-intercept. So we see that 5, well, let's start with the y-intercept here. 5y equals 15. Divide by 5, you get y is 3. So up 3 spaces, put the dot there. For the x-intercept, we're going to have negative 3x equals 15. So we end up with an x equals negative 5. So we're going to go over 5 spaces to the left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And you put the dot there, and then you draw the line between those 2 points. And we have our answer there. And let's see here, we've got the next one is another one that looks very similar, just different. The difference is we have the 5x minus 3y equals 15 this time. So we got 5x equals 15, so x is 3 when we do that division. So over 3 spaces, put the dot there, and then we figure out the y-intercept. So negative 3y equals 15. So divide by that negative 3, y is negative 5. So down 5 spaces, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Put the dot there, and draw the line between those 2 points. So again, what you're going to end up experiencing on this question, though, is where the graph ends up crossing. They'll give you the graph, that you need to figure out where it crosses the x and y intercepts, and then just circle those, and then match it. So here's negative 5 for the x-intercept, positive 3 for the y-intercept. You might even write down y equals 3, x equals negative 5. And then you go ahead and match it to the equation that you have. Well, let's take a look at the next type. Question 18 asks us to graph using slope-intercept form. So they're going to have a graph, and you're going to end up having to match the equation to it. And when the equations are in this form, slope-intercept form works well. So negative 2, this is your y-intercept. It's the y-intercept because when you set y equal to, or x equal to 0, it cancels out this term, and you just have y equals negative 2. So that's what we're going to do, go down 2 spaces, and then use the slope. Remember, the slope is rise over run, so it's 3 to 1. So you're going to go up 1, 2, 3, and over 1 to the right. Up 1, 2, 3, 1 to the right. You could also go the other way, down 3, 1 to the left. And then you just draw the line between those points. That's what you have. Next one has a y-intercept of 1. So we start up 1 space. The slope is 1 to 1. So if you don't see a number out in front of the x, it's just 1. And you write the slope as a fraction. And 1 over 1 is the same thing as 1. And it just means you're going to go up and to the right or down to the left. You can do that a few times, get a nice line between those points. Next one, y equals negative 2x plus 4. So up 4 spaces, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then you just follow what the slope says. This time it's negative 2 over 1. So down 2, and then right 1. Always from that point that you have. Down 2, right 1, down 2, right 1. You could end up going up 2, left 1. Gets you on that same line. And so all you're going to do is you're going to see an equation, figure out what the y-intercept is, use the points that are given to you or where it crosses those intervals, and figure out your slope and match it to the graph that you have. Negative 2 is the y-intercept on this one. Slope is negative 1 to 2, so down 1 over 2 to the right. Down 1, 2 to the right. Down 1, 2 to the right. You could go the other way, up 1, 2 to the left. Gets you on that same line. And then you just go ahead and draw a line between those points. Well, those are those problems between 16 and 18. We'll continue on in the next part.